I've gone ahead and pushed ahead with the basic wall carcass structure. These corner panels are all equal top to bottom. They are 103s, and basically the main thing to remember is when we assembled the floor rails, we put these corner plates in with screws. We have to take those screws back out the sides in order to allow the panel to sit flush, and so we've got 2 screws there and then again on the other side, and that allows them to stand up. We've got the same again in the halfway up to connect these support railings. It's a 402.1 and a 402.14, and they're connected in the middle by this channel section here. I'll just show you underneath. And to keep this whole base rail squared, once we've measured corner to opposite corner, and same again on the opposite 2 corners, and got those measurements equal, I've just in the corners here put a couple of small tacks, panel tacks, and that just stops the whole unit moving around. It keeps it square while you're working on it. And that's about where we're up to. Just follow the part numbers. These front railings are the only ones that are different really in profile, and you just marry it all up, keep the screws loose to begin with, and then once you've got them all in, tighten them down good, and that gives us a fairly rigid structure. It's a little bit wobbly, but it will be until the roof and the other panels go on. So this is the shed starting to take shape with the panel work on, and we've got the 101 panels make up the majority of this panel work. There's 3 along the sides and I think 4 along the back. There's one smaller section, 102, which fits in to fill in the gap here. All I can suggest really, when you, as a tip for this part, is to do the screws up loosely as you go, and then just fit the neighbouring panel alongside. The fit here isn't fantastic. You can see where this is supposed to fold over and encapsulate that pleat. It doesn't quite fit that well. You're going to have to be prepared to either open these pleats up a little bit on the edges, just to assist it to fit. Some of the metal work's going to need a bit of manipulation to get the holes to line up, hence why you should leave the screws slightly loose as you assemble it. Only once you've got one complete panel or one complete edge or side or rear section complete, you can then tighten the screws down. That seems to be the most problems reported with these sheds, is the holes don't line up. They do actually line up if you allow the screws to go together loosely and then manipulate the structure and the panels themselves. I've not actually had to drill any fresh holes in any of this. It's all got the original factory holes in it. Admittedly, some holes are missing, and for those I've just left them because, for instance, here we've got 1, 2 and 1 missing, then 1, then 1 missing, then 1, then 1, 2 again. Don't be too concerned about putting extra holes in here. You've got plenty enough clamping force to hold this all together, and for the weatherproofing, just leave it. It's not going to affect the strength of the structure. And that's about where we're up to now with all the panel work on, bar one panel. For these front sections, again, these are 101 panels. You need to put these 106 panels on. I'll just give you a demo of that one that's already fitted. That basically goes with the... I'm standing on the inside of the shed now. There's a cutout at the bottom of this, and that goes against the threshold bar. With the cutout riding over the top, and then the holes lining up here. And this is a prime example. You can see in its relaxed position the holes don't quite line up, so there's nothing wrong with manipulating things a little bit. Get the screws in there loosely, attach the panel loosely, and when you're happy everything's lined up, clamp it all down tight, and that way it all goes together fairly well. There will be imperfections along the way. Like I say, these folds don't always line up perfectly. That should sit like that, but at present it's sitting like that. We've still got the roof, the upper level, eaves level screws to go in yet, so we can manipulate that when we get the roof section on. But as it stands so far, we're looking like we're probably 3/4 of the way through this. There's just one last panel left to go on. I'm going to go lift it from the lower edge.
The lower bit, yeah?
Lift it up over your head.
Aaron, that's the last bit. Yeah, it is.
So with the roof sitting in position, you're going to need to get your assistant to go around and support the roof as you line up the holes. Again, put them in most of the way, but not fully tight until you're sure you've got all the others lined up. Mostly I'm happy with this. I've gone on to using these white washers here because I ran out of black ones. Either I've used the black ones where I shouldn't have done, or I've just not been supplied with enough black ones. So I've gone on to using the whites. It fits mostly okay around here. We've still got this panel fit problem here, which occurs virtually all the panels are like that. So if you want to make this completely weatherproof, you will need to employ the silicone. Is it going to be waterproof? Well, the amount of daylight that comes through here, and this is protected by the ridge caps, but I'm suspecting this is not going to be completely watertight. The back run here, where these holes are the larger diameter, we have to use these fastener clips that line up with the outer holes, so that's no major drama. Like I say, like with all the panels, you will need to manipulate them a little bit. I've not had to drill any new holes in any of this. It's all using the original factory holes. And then next we move on to the doors. You can see the roof panel now from underneath. You can see a slight misalignment there, but nothing that would cause concern for me. Moving on to the door fitment. The instructions are pretty clear, mostly on this part. You've got 3 support beams across the back. There's one there, one in the middle, and one at the top. And the uppermost support beam is held in place with 1 screw to start with. The middle one is held in place with 1 screw in the middle and then 1 screw on the outboard support hole. And then this one here lines up with the nut and bolt for the handle on the outside. The lowermost has a screw on the inboard screw in the centre, and then the outboard screw goes also through this plastic step, which I suppose just regulates the movement between the rail there. And then when you come to offer up the door panel, I've still got this one to do. These holes here will correlate with the peg and then the vacant screw hole there. Same again for this one. There's various options there to raise or lower the door. You've just got a row of 4 that are stepped depending on how you feel the height of the door needs to sit in the runners. Okay, so back here with the doors, I've gone for the uppermost screw and lug hole for each side, and that's allowed the doors to remain inside the channel at the lower edge. One other tip, this centre screw, if you use a white washer, it may catch on the channel in here. In fact, you may even need to bend the door slightly when you're opening and closing it. I'll put a black washer on this so that it doesn't sit out so high. See what it looks like. And there we have it, one complete Yardmaster shed on its base. Now just to clean up the surrounding environment.